Good morning. After land reforms, let us now discuss Green Revolution. At independence, about 75% of the country's population was dependent on agriculture. Productivity in agricultural sector was very low because of the use of old technology and the absence of required infrastructure for vast majority of farmers. India's agriculture vitally depends on monsoon, and if the monsoon fell short, the farmers were in trouble unless they had access to irrigation facilities, which very few had. Now, in Green Revolution, we will discuss how India was able to increase the agricultural output in late 60s and 70s, which was very poor before that period, like particularly the pre-independence area, when the British government did not pay any attention on agriculture, the condition of farmers had declined and become pathetic, and the farmers basically depended upon monsoon for agriculture, and when the monsoons were not proper, the output was very poor. So very few people, big farmers has access to irrigation facilities. The stagnation in agriculture during the colonial rule was permanently broken by the Green Revolution. Now, stagnation is a situation in which there is no growth in the output. So, if we say that the GDP of the India remains at 5% for many years, we will say that there is stagnation in growth rate, or if there is no increase in the GDP of the country for many years, we will say that there is stagnation of growth in the country. Similarly, if the agricultural output remains the same for many years, we will say that there is stagnation in agriculture. So there was stagnation in agriculture, although population was continuously increasing in the country. This was broken. That means Indian agriculture or production in agriculture increased to a great extent in Green Revolution. This refers to large increase in production of food grains resulting from the use of high yielding variety seeds, HYV seeds, especially for wheat and rice. So we had discussed also in class 9, you have gone through this topic, that in Green Revolution the cultivation of wheat and rice was given priority, and the states like Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh were successful in Green Revolution, and with the help of HYV seeds, proper irrigation, fertilizers, it was a success. And particularly wheat and rice, because these are the main food crop, the production of these crops increased. The use of these seeds required the use of fertilizer and pesticide in correct quantities, as well as regular supply of water. The application of these inputs in correct proportion is vital. The farmers who could benefit from HYV seeds required reliable irrigation facilities as well as financial resources to purchase fertilizer and pesticide. So there are some disadvantages also of these HYV seeds, because they require fertilizer and they require plenty of water. So in the last few 40 years or 50 years, it has been seen that the water level in India also has gone down because of plenty of water being used, or land water being used for irrigation. But at the same time, the agricultural output has also increased. So as a result of this Green Revolution, or proper use of water, fertilizer and pesticide, in the first phase of Green Revolution, approximately mid 60s up to mid 70s, so approximately between 1966 to 75, the use of HYV seeds were restricted to more affluent states such as Punjab, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Further, the use of HYV seeds primarily benefited the wheat growing regions only. The second phase of Green Revolution in mid 1970s to mid 80s. So that was the first phase in which basically the states of Punjab, Haryana, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Western Uttar Pradesh, they were benefited. And in the states of Punjab and Western Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, Haryana at that time was a part of Punjab. So separately Haryana's name will not appear. So Punjab, Western UP were mainly engaged in cultivation of wheat, and South Indian states of Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, they were engaged in cultivation of rice. So agriculture of these crops increased or shoot up, and then we had self-sufficiency in terms of food grain due to this first phase. In the second phase, which was the period between mid 70s and mid 80s, HYV technology spread to a larger number of states and benefited more variety of crops. The spread of Green Revolution technology enabled India to achieve self-sufficiency in food grains. India no longer had to be at mercy of America or any other nation for meeting its food requirements. So before 1965, India had to import food grain, particularly wheat was imported from America, and a lot of foreign exchange was spent on import of wheat from countries like America and Britain, and the cost of food grain was very high in India because it was imported, and a major part of budget of household was spent to purchase only food grains. But due to this technology, India gradually became self-sufficient in food grain production. Growth in agricultural output is important but not enough. If a large proportion of this increase is consumed by farmers for themselves, instead of being sold in market, the higher output will not make much a difference to the economy as a whole. So in the first phase, we paid more attention on food crops like rice and wheat. In the second phase, we paid attention on those crops which were cash crops. The cash crops are those which provide cash to us. That means we can export these agricultural products or sell the agricultural output in the market. So this will improve the economic situation of the farmer also, because they will earn some cash and the country will also have some foreign exchange. The higher output will may not make much difference in the economy. On the other hand, a substantial amount of agriculture produce is sold in market by the farmers. The higher output can make a difference to the economy. So if the surplus, that means the amount of crop or quantity of crop which is remaining after your consumption, that is sold in the market, you can have cash, or country can also have foreign exchange. The portion of agricultural output which is sold in the market by farmers is called marketed surplus. So, and you can note this point or this particular term, marketable surplus or marketed surplus. This is the surplus which is remaining to the farmers after self consumption, that could be sold in the market and money can be earned. A good proportion of rice and wheat produced during Green Revolution period available as marketed surplus was sold by farmers in the market. As a result, the price of food grains declined relative to other items for consumption. So prices of food grains were declining because the farmers were growing much more food grain than before, and they were supplying to the market. The low income groups who spent large percentage of their income on food benefited from this decline in relative prices. So as I discussed that poor people were spending a large part of their budget on purchase of food grains. Now their budgets were decreasing in terms of purchase of food grains. The Green Revolution enabled the government to procure sufficient amount of food grains to build a stock which could be used in times of food shortage. So these lines could also be noted. This relates to buffer stock. So after success of Green Revolution, India was able to build a buffer stock which was stocked in the godowns of the government, which is known as FCI godown. Now FCI is a organization which maintains godowns of food grains, and these excess food grains are stored and then they are supplied to the places of scarcity, particularly at the time of need when the output is less. While nation had immensely benefited from green revolution, the technology involved was not free from risk. One such risk was possibility that it would increase the disparities between small and big farmers, since only the big farmers could afford the required inputs, thereby reaping most the benefit of green revolution. It was seen that in the states of Punjab, mostly the farmers were rich. So rich farmers were mainly benefited by green revolution. They could purchase tractors and equipments, modern equipments, and then increase their output and earn much profit, whereby the other farmers or small farmers having small holdings of land could not purchase these type of modern equipments. They could not get the benefit. Moreover, HYV crops were also more prone to attack by pest, and the small farmers who adopted this technology could lose everything in a pest attack. So in case of pest attack, recently we are hearing some news about locust attack. So this is a type of pest. Like this, many pests could attack the crop. So green revolution was although successful and advantageous for us, but the HYV seed was more prone to this type of pest attack. So more fertilizers were required, more pesticides were required to get rid of these type of pest, and the budget of the farmers on expense of these type of pesticides were increasing, although the output was more. Fortunately, these fears did not come true because the steps taken by the government provided loan at low interest rate to small farmers and subsidized fertilizers so that small farmers could also have access to the needed inputs. It was also seen that in India, the farmers are getting fertilizer subsidy, diesel subsidy, and pesticide subsidy so that they can increase the output by applying less, and they are also provided uh, loans at low rate of interest. So as a result, the green revolution benefited small as well as rich farmers. The risk of small farmers being ruined when pest attack their crop were considerably reduced by services rendered by the research institute established by government. You should note that green revolution would have favored the rich farmers only if the state did not play an extensive role in ensuring that small farmer also gains from the new technology. So to make the green revolution successful, Government of India played an important role by providing latest technology to the farmers at low rate of interest, then providing training to the farmers, providing fertilizers and other inputs at low rates in the market, diesel subsidy, and because of this, the green revolution became successful and income of farmers had increased. Along with it, India became self-sufficient in terms of not only food grains but also many other cash crops. So today, India is largest producer of many crops that is being exported to the outside world. So with this, we conclude the today's class. In the next class, we will discuss subsidies. Thank you.